Hey everybody, welcome to our review of Death Watch. Death Note.
No.
Yeah. I got tongue tie coming into this. Death Wish.
Death Wish. Pew pew, bang bang.
Bang bang, he shot me down. Wrong movie. This is.
Oh my god.
Ian here, along with Chris. Both of us are fresh off the trail of checking out Bruce Willis and his new action flick, Death Wish. How does it stack up? How does it compare? Gonna break it down here. Of course, how does that compare to the previous version? Now, I did not see the one from the 70s before seeing this. Did you?
I have seen them. It's been a long time. I wanted to see at least the first one again before I went and saw this. I did not get a chance. It's just been busy. But yeah, I've seen them. They're great. They are required viewing material, so you do need to watch it at some point.
Right on.
At least the first two. There's like 10 of them, but at least the first two.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, we got to take on an idea that we've seen in a lot of lit comics and everything else. That's vigilantism. I think overall, though, this film I think loses some of the whole critique element and the whole I don't know, at least to me, some of the social commentary trade out for action. This is pure-blooded. I felt it's Bruce Willis hamming his way through, feeling like a couple flashes of John McClane there, a little bit, but doing what Bruce Willis does.
Yeah, there was some controversy about this movie leading into it. Something about Bruce Willis going around shooting people wearing a white hoodie and stuff like that.
Right,
and
right.
And to be honest, considering some of the things that have happened in the news recently with guns and such,
right.
I'm sure you probably felt a little irky a couple times in this movie. Here's the thing, though. This movie is not trying to say anything.
No.
And there's an opportunity for this movie talking about vigilantism and talking about taking the law into your own hands and dishing out justice. There's an opportunity for this movie to make some commentary, but it doesn't.
Nope.
If you're going into this movie thinking it's going to say something, you're wrong. The original Die Hard with Bruce Willis probably has more of a social commentary than this movie.
I agree.
That could be good or bad, depending on your own personal feeling on it. I thought it was maybe a missed opportunity to maybe nudge a couple things. There's obviously some portrayal of how bad things are. It takes place in the city of Chicago, which is having some serious crime issues.
Right.
They're talking about how the detectives seem very complacent about everything that's going on. But they're not harping on anything.
No.
They're not trying to say, well, this is just, horrible injustice. This is this. It's very upfront. It's very, look, this is the story. We're given a reason to put a gun in Bruce Willis's hand so he can go shoot people in a movie, which quite honestly is Death Wish. To that extent, I feel it keeps the commentary a bit in the soul a bit from the originals, because ultimately that's what the original Death Wish series of movies was about. But at the same time, there was some social commentary there, especially in the second one. But here's the thing. I mean, I left this movie thinking, and by the way, we're going to try to stay away from spoilers, although there is something I want to comment about at the end, and we'll be obvious about that.
Sure.
This, it's fine. I came out of this and I'm just like, yeah, okay.
Sure.
All right,
sure.
Yeah, I was okay with this. That's my overall feeling. I like I said, there was an opportunity here, especially with a character with an actor like Bruce Willis, who's obviously going to draw some people in. You've got some other actors in here that are great too. Elizabeth Shue, which by the way, looks like she hasn't aged one bit.
Isn't that creepy?
Like 25 something. It is creepy. I think that's because, I don't know, she sold her soul or something. Like every once in a while, the devil lets her out to do some acting or something. I mean, she doesn't. I mean, you see actors, who have been around for decades, like, oh wow, I can't believe they look that. But like, I'm watching her in this. I'm like, did you just do Adventures in Babysitting like yesterday?
It's weird, isn't it?
It was crazy.
And she's in her mid-50s. apparently.
It's nuts. It's nuts.
Yeah.
Like the picture I'm looking at right here, I've got the cast list out. She doesn't look as good in this picture as she did in this movie. It was ridiculous. Let's see, I'm going to get the name wrong, and that's horrible. Vincent D'Onofrio. Do you know who I'm talking about?
For what was his part?
Well, he played the brother.
Ah,
Yeah,
yep.
he's Kingpin in Daredevil show.
Right.
I can't believe I'm getting that wrong. He's such a good actor, and I deserve to get smacked for it if anybody feels like they're gonna feel. Yeah, it's horrible. Anyways, he's great. He's great as always. But yeah, you know what? I mean, this thing's gonna take you through a story. It's a story you probably already know. There's nothing new here. There's nothing hidden here. It's just a story. You're gonna, if you enjoy these kind of flicks, which
Right.
there's some classic, it's a very kind of classic. There's definitely some classic tropes as far as the action shoot 'em up kind of movies, urban warfare kind of stuff. It's all here, and it's all done just fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's really all.
Yeah. No, I'm with you too. This is one that I think would have had a hard time giving itself away in trailers and any type of pre-footage and things like that beforehand. If anything, now that I think back, the pre-footage that we did see was some stuff from the ending, some of the very end scenes from the film itself, and you knew the basic theme going into it. It was just filling in some of the hows and whys. But I think each movie season, whether you're going into summer or in winter or spring, I mean, you're going to have your action flicks speckled throughout. I think this is that entry right now for March.
Yeah, so what were some of your favorite things about this?
As far as what I saw, is some of just the light. I think the kind of double-sided. It didn't mean to come off as humorous, of course, but I think that the duality to the two lives that you have our main character leading. You could say on the one hand he saves, on the other hand he gets revenge. By night. It's a classic take on a theme that we've seen a lot, but I like that here. Someone who's conflicted. Often you have a hardened character, or there's someone filled with a lot of tragedy and everything else, but he's given his reasons for doing this rather late. It's not something he carried around with him his whole life. It's something that he is inspired to do. In fact, he's pretty avoidant of trying to cause conflicts, of trying to be violent up front, but it's someone who finds necessity in that through what he deals with, and this is really how he chooses his form of not only therapy, but his form of service. So, yeah.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, here's the thing. They lay down enough to where it's like, okay, all right, he's gonna start taking things into his own hand, but they don't. Here, I guess I do have kind of a problem with this. They don't really compound the issues going on. They're telling the story. The story is there, but you're not really feeling any of it.
Right.
I mean, there's a moment when he's talking about the injustice of loss. And stuff. And again, the movie doesn't harp on anything. No. But I could definitely feel that. But, like the conversion from... I almost spoiled something.
Careful.
The conversion from the man he is, and who just from the incidences, I mean, if you've seen the trailers, this is about, there's a death in the family. Somebody's killed. And the man he was versus the man he is now, because of what's happened. I mean, it's there, but really you just don't feel it. I'd say that's a negative.
No, I think so. There's a difference between this and say something like, this is just a mean comparison. I'm not trying to put these two side by side because they're completely different films, but something like Blade Runner, where you take and you internalize more of that narrative. It speaks louder. It's got more volume behind all of its steps. This feels more distant. It's there. the scenes that unfold, the actions there and whatnot, but it's all a little bit away from you. There's nothing here to that level to really take in, really chew over carefully, internalize, and process really carefully. You know, I can't help but think of some other works we've seen, like of course the famous Death Note hits this idea, you know, again of vigilantism, of why you should, why you shouldn't. But if anything,
not the Netflix version, that's
not,
for sure.
Not that.
I've seen a couple episodes of the anime, but that Netflix movie definitely doesn't touch.
You didn't. I know you didn't dig that at all. You know, as someone
No.
who's seen Death Note before, I was all right with it. You know, I thought it definitely had high. I was okay with that. But one classic pitfall that I was looking for here, and this isn't a spoiler, but I think that we didn't fall into, which I'm kind of glad. Normally, with vigilantism or these types of films, there's usually some kind of theme about being twisted and corrupted into the very thing that you're trying to destroy, and ultimately, you know, warping your whole mission, or you know, getting that distorted somehow. Bruce Willis he has a pretty clear track the entire time, is what he's trying to sort through this, trying to like deal with it without a whole lot of flip flop internal reversal about it. He sets his path and he walks it, and he walks it and he walks it to its conclusion.
Yep. Yeah. I will say, while he's walking in that path, there's definitely some cool kills. I'll give him that.
Yes.
I'm just the one in the garage. Holy crap!
That was brutal.
I'm not going to say anything more. I'll just say I was legit cringing in the theater.
No, you rightfully should have. That was brutal stuff.
Yeah, that was nuts. There's some good killings here. I did appreciate. I noticed that for the up until that point, every time he goes out to exact justice or vengeance, he wears a hoodie that came from the hospital, so it's almost like he's wearing the clothes of those who have been injured.
Right.
Did you notice that as well?
Right.
But there's a point where that stops.
Yeah.
There's a point where, you know, all right, he's not just doing that for them anymore. You know, so yeah, I mean, the story moves along just fine. I do feel that overall, though, the story does come off kind of flat. Like I said, you don't really feel anything that's going on here.
Yeah.
It doesn't delve into that. You know, it more feels like excuses for why we're going to give you some gory scenes here, and why we're putting a gun in Bruce Willis's hand again, because it's been a while.
Right.
So that being said, the story also does feel disjointed. The pacing of it's fine.
It is.
But it feels like we're missing parts of this movie. It really does feel like it's been chopped up a bit too much.
Yeah. And
did you get that as well?
I wonder. I almost wondered if that was due to underbuilding some of the transition points, or cutting too much of that out to try to stick to mainline themes. I mean, most of the time with action films like this, at least what I usually expect, especially if you have two or different types of narratives going, both your main character and then, like, let's say from the police department and others, those paths kind of intersect at some point. We follow those a lot more thoroughly to a conclusion. I felt, you know, we've got a lot of story and build behind our protagonist, but again, the rest is just sort of in the periphery, sort of in the background. The police story, the rest of it is very, very standardized. The way their case unfolds, the way it falls out, and they just sort of walk in and just walk back out and conclude things by the end of it. So.
Done Offrio, by the way.
There you go.
She went and found out how to pronounce that because I feel so bad.
Hey, you got it.
Yeah, you know, I mean, there is one other thing about the story I want to talk about at the end. That's in the spoiler territory, so I'm going to save that for the very end. You know, the score on this was very hit or miss. Yeah. There's some times when it's got some, you know, it almost feels like it's got some classics, late 70s, you know, kind of killer thriller kind of, you know, music, just like what you'd hear back about 40 years ago in it, and that I really enjoyed. Right. But for the most part, the score was kind of flat. You know, the special effects, they're generally all they're all fine. This movie does get rather gory at times. The directing was fine. I'd say the score is lacking a bit, though. There's some times when it's like, well, it really would have been better to have some better music here, or to take this out in this area. But yeah, this is very, it's very basic.
It is.
It's fine. It's fine.
It works. I'm with you on. No, I was saying I'm with you on sound. I heard more the kind of electronic rap bass, style themes more than anything else. I'm usually a music hound. That's something I listen to really carefully with films. But no real big standouts that I could think of. But hey, if you're looking for your dose of action, you're looking for your dose of a gun or two, here you go.
Yeah, if you're gonna go see a movie with somebody, you guys can't decide what you want to see because somebody doesn't want to see this one or you don't want to see that one.
Right.
Go see Death Wish.
That's fair. That's fair.
Go see Death Wish. It's all right. And unless you're squeamish, then don't go see Death Wish. Then that's not a good idea. I think that's it. I really don't think what else to say. I mean, and quite honestly, if I was to recommend this movie, I would recommend it as a rental. Same. Or like I just said, if you guys can't decide on what to do, it's fine. It's fun. Whatever streaming station this is going to end up on, or if you're actually at a Redbox. God, I don't even remember the last time I rented anything from a Redbox. But if you find yourself in front of a Redbox and you see Death Wish, sure, it's good for 90 minutes. It's good for 90 minutes with a friend or someone, or pizza and some beers or whatever. Yeah, it's fine.
Right on.
So we'll rate it Glocks. 1 out of 10 Glocks.
I was wondering if you were going to do the guns themselves or bullets. At a Glocks, I'm going to give this 6 out of 10 Glocks.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a solid 6 too. 6 out of 10 Glocks. Yeah, it's it's fine.
It worked.
All right, so a little bit of spoiler stuff. So if you don't want to hear any spoilers, you just stop at this point.
Yep.
Yeah, it's all right. Okay, so you're back. Spoilers now. Back to the story. Was it just me? Or did it seem like they completely cut out an aspect of the story where it seemed like the brother had something to do with everything that happened?
Yes! Absolutely! There was... I was really expecting more development with that, especially how it turns out once things do start to come full circle and his brother starts to realize everything that's happening. I was really curious how he was going to step into that whole picture or sort of build more. But, he's injected into this and then pulled back, and then sort of. And
there's, as people watching the movie, you can even follow that trail yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, but they don't. That I would say that's a bit disappointing, just because this was such a story-wise, this was so flat. It just and because of that and a couple of things, it just feels like they cut some stuff out. I think that was an aspect of the story they just removed altogether, probably to keep it short.
Yeah, no, I think so. There's if you do too much build, if you're just trying to be brief, trying to be pretty terse with each statement that you make, hey, there's only so much screen time you have for that. It's a bit of a surprise too, especially seeing how dedicated of a brother he actually is.
Not to mention, they've got an actor like Vincent D'Onofrio, got it right.
Yep.
But Vincent D'Onofrio is playing a role who's maybe got 15 minutes.
Yeah.
You put a great actor like that who can play those kind of roles, and you just don't use them. It's like, hey, it's the brother pal guy who's always borrowing money, and it just I think there's a director's cut that may come out for this at some point that connects all of that. But yeah, and it's not hard to notice it. But we did not really talk about the movie before we recorded this. I wanted to save that for that part.
Yeah, fair enough.
So I'm not dumb. Well, at least not about that. There was definitely, I wasn't the only one who felt like there's like a whole aspect of the story that's been cut out.
No.
Okay.
True enough. All right. That is going to do it for us. Of course, stay tuned for more reviews, some more of our upcoming content. We're going to be talking about Voltron, have our daily show coming up, and March this month is pretty loaded for movies. I got a lot of reviews I'll be covering myself, and some other goodies coming to the channel. But until then, thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you guys soon.
It's fine.
Hey people, thank you for tuning into this episode and taking a listen. If you like our content, if you like what you're listening to, is there anything we go over, hey, please, we would not only love to hear more from you, but if great, if you could throw some support, you can subscribe right below. Also, you can toss us a line anytime. That's ksongmedia@gmail.com. Of course, you can tune in for our channel anytime for movie reviews, game reviews, a lot of random wacky stuff. Who knows what you'll hear. And of course, our episode each week where we're bringing the nerdiest things we can find, dig up, and maybe not find. Maybe the stuff that just drops in our laps. But anyway, hey, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for listening. We hope to hear from you again later. Take care.